So, in the first video, we introduced Module 12, okay? In this video, Lesson 1, we will show you how to go from the audit objective into the high-level questions. Now, the supporting test can be found together with this video as a free preview in the site of the course. So, link in the description, okay? So, let's go. Now, do you remember alpha pumps from the introduction to this module? Okay, let's go back to alpha pumps. And let's start with the audit objective. So, evaluate whether the production and delivery processes are implemented as planned and capable of consistently delivering conforming products. So, this sounds clear, but we cannot audit it directly, okay? So we can convert it into a first question. Are the processes operating as planned in a way that consistently leads to conforming products? Okay, but it's still too broad. Let's break it down, okay? Now, next step is simple. We break the question down, splitting it into two major branches, okay? The implementation and capability. So, this question can be translated into question number 1. Are the production and delivery processes implemented as planned? Question number 2. Are the production and delivery processes capable of consistently delivering conforming products? This is the first important split. The first branch is about implementation. The second branch is about capability and results. A process may be implemented as planned and still not be capable. The process may also appear capable for the moment while being poorly controlled or inconsistently implemented. So, both branches matter. Let's now develop the first question. Question number 1. Are the production and delivery processes implemented as planned? So, are the processes implemented as planned? So, to answer this, we need to go one level deeper. So, we ask ourselves a simple but powerful question. Now, what needs to be true for us to conclude that production and delivery are actually implemented as planned? Now, let me use the turtle diagram, okay, as a simple way of looking at the process from several practical angles at once. So, at the center is the process itself, the main activities. And around it, we look at the main conditions that make the process work properly, such as inputs, outputs, resources, people, methods, and performance. Now, it helps ask a useful question. What needs to be in place for this process to work as intended? Now, let's see it through the lens of methods and documentation. So the question can be, are the processes for production and delivery clearly defined and understood? For us to answer yes to this question, several things need to be true. So the organization must have defined how production and delivery are supposed to work. Now, the responsibilities and interfaces must be clear, and the people involved must understand the expected flow of activities and the controls that guide the work. Okay, now let's go into the main activities. So, are activities being performed in accordance with the defined arrangements? So, here we look at the reality of the operations. Okay, what is the actual practice? So, the actual practice should broadly match the planned method. The required steps should be followed, and the key controls should be visible in real operations, not just in procedures. So this is about going into the shop floor and seeing what is happening. Now, let's see resources. Let's see the resources. Question number 3 is, so are the necessary resources available and used as planned. So for the process to work as designed, the necessary resources must be in place. So people, equipment, infrastructure, information, and materials must be available. So the process should not be surviving through, let's say, improvisation alone. And the operational conditions should support the intended way of working. Okay. Now let's see people. The people. Let's focus our attention in people. Are roles, competence, and authority adequate for implementation? So this question focuses on the people dimension. So the individuals performing the work must be competent, responsibilities must be understood, and decisions must be taken by the right people at the right moments in the process. Okay, so what is missing? Okay, performance metrics. Okay, so the fifth question could be, are monitoring checks and records being performed as planned? So finally, we look at evidence. So required inspections, checks, and verification should be taking place. Records should exist where they are needed, and the organization should be able to demonstrate that the process was actually followed. Now, these questions help us determine whether the process is truly being implemented and not just nicely described on paper. Okay? Now, let's go to the second part. Let's go to the capability. So now it's time to the second question. Are the processes capable of consistently delivering conforming products? So what needs to be true for us to conclude that production and delivery are capable of consistently delivering conforming products? So we look at the outputs, at the final control, release, and management or handling of nonconformities. Okay, and even check if nonconformities arrive at the customer with complaints, for example, or satisfaction level. Now, the first question in this second branch can be, do processes achieve the intended product requirements? So what needs to be true? So products meet defined specifications. Required inspections and tests support release decisions. And non-conforming products are not routinely escaping the system. Okay, so with this we can check if we are achieving the intended product requirements. Now, second question, is conformity achieved consistently, not only occasionally? So what needs to be true? So results are stable over time. Okay, so we need to check trends. Conformity does not depend excessively on specific individuals' luck or heroic effort. No, and process variation is under reasonable control. Okay, now let's go to the third question. Are problems detected, controlled, and addressed effectively? So what needs to be true in this case? So failures, deviations, and nonconformities are detected. The organization reacts appropriately, and problems are not simply passed downstream or to the customer. Okay. Now, do production and delivery conditions support reliable conformity? So, what is helping or working for these processes, supporting these processes? Is it working? So what needs to be true? Equipment works reliably enough. Okay. Materials and components are suitable. Handling, storage, packaging, and transport protect conformity. And deliver activities do not damage or compromise the product. Okay, so now let's go to the last question in this capability branch. So, does the organization use relevant information to maintain and improve capability? Now, what needs to be true for us to conclude that the capability is maintained or improved? So, we need to look into performance indicators like complaints, failures, delays, scrap, rework, or returns, and see that they are reviewed, they are evaluated, that recurring issues are recognized, okay, that action is taken when performance deteriorates. So this question moves the audit from are people following the process to can this process be trusted to deliver good results repeatedly? Of course, we want to see corrections, yes, but we want also to see system level learning, so effective corrective actions. Okay, so now we have a set of 10 questions. Yeah, 10 questions. So, are processes defined and understood? Are activities carried out as planned? Are resources available? Are roles and competence adequate? And are controls and records applied? And then the second branch, the capability, do outputs meet requirements? Is conformity consistent? Are problems detected and controlled? Does delivery preserve conformity? And is performance monitored and improved? So what you are going to do during the audit is to collect information that will enable you to answer to this question in confidence in your audit conclusion. So, the audit conclusion is not a summary of the audit. No, is the answer to these high-level questions, okay, that are embedded in the audit objective. Now, okay, so now we have these questions. In the next lesson number 2, we'll move from these high-level questions into evidence, okay? So evidence that supports audit findings. So now comes the key step. Each of these questions requires evidence, and evidence exists somewhere. So we use a simple logic. Questions determine evidence, and evidence determines where to go. We will see that in lesson 2. See you there.